Okay, Chelsea, once again, because it's a three-parter, you don't get to pick. I have one picked out, and I think you're going to like this. This is from, not like you liked the last one, because, man, was that you just reveling in me struggling to read something that was what it was, and I'm not looking forward to listening to that anyhow. This comes from The Mirror, written March 20th, 2026, written by Fallon Stempler. Anyhow. Article title, FEMA disaster chief claims he is able to teleport, quote, I landed in a ditch by a Baptist church, end quote. Resurfaced comments made by Gregg Phillips, the head of FEMA's Office of Response and Recovery, have sparked concerns about the new leader's competency and mental state. Phillips, a conservative activist who spread voter fraud conspiracies, was appointed to lead the federal government's storm disaster response under the Department of Homeland Security in December. Previously, he oddly claimed that he involuntarily teleported to a Waffle House in Georgia that was 50 miles away.
Oh, this is the same one I was thinking of.
Quote, teleporting is no fun, end quote, Phillips said on one podcast last year. Quote, it was real, end quote. During the bizarre exchange, Phillip explained, quote, I was with my boys one time and I was telling them I was going to go to Waffle House and get Waffle House. And they end up at a Waffle House. This was in Georgia. And I ended up at a Waffle House like 50 miles away from where I was. End quote. Quote, and they said, where are you? And I said, a Waffle House. And a Waffle House where? And I said, Waffle House in Rome, Georgia. And they said, that's not possible. You just left here a moment ago. But it was possible. It was real. End quote. Quote, teleporting is no fun. It's no fun because you don't really know what you're doing. End quote. He continued. Quote, you don't really understand it. It's scary, but yet, but so real. And you know what's happening, but you can't do anything about it. And so you just go, and you go with the ride. And wow. What just an incredible adventure it was. End quote. He also previously launched a harsh attack on former President Joe Biden, whom Phillips claimed, quote, deserves to die, end quote.
Shit.
Quote, I would like to punch that, I don't know for sure what he says, B dash dash dash. In the mouth right now. I have a guess, but that's what it's, yeah. End quote. Phillips said on a podcast about Biden in 2025, quote, he's a nasty S word, crappy human being, and he deserves to die, and I hope he does, end quote. Phillips became a more prominent figure in January as most of the country was hit by a massive snowstorm. During that time, he was pictured behind then Department of Homeland Security Kristi Noem at their command hub while hosting a press conference. Officials openly expressed concerns about his lack of experience and history of controversial remarks as the leader of what some have described as the most important agency in the department, which leads efforts in search and rescue operations, emergency aid, infrastructure restoration, and distributing billions in disaster aid. However, after weeks in the role, several FEMA officials said that they came around to Phillips after seeing his initiatives during this January snowstorm response. Quote, Gregg Phillips is FEMA's best hope at this moment. I can't believe I'm saying that, end quote, one high-ranking FEMA official told CNN at the time. FEMA dismissed concerns raised in CNN's latest report about Phillips, where the outlet also uncovered several since-deleted posts about Phillips making personal attacks against Democratic officials and spreading 2020 election conspiracies. Quote, this is so silly, it's barely worth acknowledging, end quote, a FEMA spokesperson told CNN. Quote, DHS, FEMA, and Mr. Phillips are focused on the critical mission of emergency management and ensuring the safety of the American people, end quote. The FEMA spokesperson also argued that Phillips' remarks about Biden were, quote, taken out of context, end quote. Quote, many of the comments cited are taken out of context or represent... You know, I'm just going to skip that because that's the end of the article and we don't need to hear his side of it.
That's not what
because
we're here for.
We always hear their side of the story and they just fucking lie. So, let's keep it at the truth he tells. He was transported to a Waffle House that he wanted to go to 50 miles away.
I'm coming off an abduction where they're like appearing on the beach with fish and stuff like that. This sounds totally believable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Up until the point
amazing
where he gets to the voter fraud.
This is so good. And Gregg Phillips, you say, does he still have his position?
He still very much has his job.
Okay, great.
Yeah, he's in charge of FEMA. If any emergency happens, he's going to teleport there, despite the fact that he doesn't like being teleported. And he's just going to save the day.
Who would enjoy being teleported? I feel like that would be very confusing and scary.
No, I would like being teleported if I knew where I was going and had control over it.
That's true, but it feels
those
like
two things are very distinct. Yes, you need those two distinct factors. Being able to know where you're being teleported to and control over when it happens.
I mean, I would be pleasantly surprised if I showed up at a Waffle House, but...
Let's be fair. We don't know if his wallet has the same teleporting properties.
So it could be scary if you're there without your wallet.
Yeah, right in front of like a half-eaten waffle.
That would be really fucking scary, actually. I would hate that.
Fuck, now I actually just realized my next excuse for not having money for the brunch.
I just teleported here. Where am I?
Okay, who's paying? Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I have no idea where I am. I don't have a wallet. I just teleported here. I'm so sorry, everybody.
And everybody will be like, I've been here the whole time.
I promise I won't happen again. Maybe. I don't know for sure because I don't know how this happened.
That was great. I think that went along perfectly with our episode to ground it a little bit. We needed some grounding, I feel like, and this was it.
Yeah. And hey, you guys got 48 hours. You teleport somewhere and tell us how it feels to just suddenly have to pay for things, apparently. I think that's how it works.
Yeah.
That's basically being a parent, but, like, more abrupt.
That's true.
I think. Basically.
I think so, too, yeah.
Anyhow, you guys get the feeling. Bye.
Yeah, okay, bye.
We had a teleport incident, 2 of them. The car lifted up and took me where I was going. And I ended up at a Waffle House, like 50 miles away from where I was. It was an incredibly frightening moment to experience yourself in your car flying through the air.